Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to Couples in Conversation Season 3. We are incredibly excited to welcome you guys back. I know that we've been on a little bit of a hiatus for a few months. Life has changed. We are doing everything that we can to kind of make sure that we fit the needs of everybody. So we're super excited to see you guys. We're super excited to have you guys. We're super excited for everybody to be here. So welcome back. Before we get into our topic and stuff for today, I just want to go around and check in on everybody. We're going to start with Fowler Nation, Toylise and Michael. How are you guys doing? I know we're still in the middle of a pandemic. We're in holiday season, but how are you guys doing? How have you been holding up since we last met?
Fowler Nation has been good. All is well. God has kept us, and you see my husband got a petty spirit, so I see how season 3 about to start. But it's okay. Fowler Nation has been good. Thank you for asking.
Awesome, awesome. Tammy, how are you? You're looking beautiful. How are you doing?
I am doing amazing. I'm still here amongst the living. And I'm doing great. I have some new adventures to share, so I'm excited to chime in.
All right, can't wait to hear it. LaSonia, how are you doing? Miss you, love you. How are you?
Doing wonderful, miss and love you too. Doing wonderful, doing good. Same old, same old.
Good. JJ and Kiera, how are you guys doing? Kiera, congratulations is in order for you.
Thank you.
I'm purchasing that home.
Yes, during a pandemic and during a horrible market crisis, but I'm in my house.
Good. That's exciting. JJ, how are you?
What's going on, y'all? I'm good.
Good. Jennifer, how are you doing?
Did you just turn to me? Turn to your neighbor. I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited. We've gotten a lot of messages about when are we going back live, where are we at, where have we been? And again, we just wanted to make sure, we were in transition. We moved to Texas. Literally everything has been moving. Fowler Nation was in transition. Literally everybody was in transition. So we wanted to make sure that we were settled before we came back on and didn't have to come and go. Just a couple of things that are going to be different this season. This season, we will not be going live every Monday. It will be every other Monday. But in those in-between times, we're going to be doing some special episodes. So we're going to get a couple of people together and kind of talk about what their thoughts and kind of dissect the episode. We're going to do that. Also, if you are interested in sharing and us sharing your products and us promoting you, shoot us a message at couplesandconversations@gmail.com. We do have the license to do that now, so I'm super excited about that. Today's episode, the topic of today's episode is, if you really knew me, would you stay? If you really knew me, would you stay? And this episode is brought to you by TJF Productions Company and the book entitled Uniquely Me. So my wife wrote this book. It is such an incredible book. If you are anywhere in your journey about understanding and discovering who you are, you need to get this book. It's not necessarily a book that you need to sit down and read. I know it's kind of thick. I don't really like reading thick books, but there's a lot of information in here. There's a lot of tools, a lot of assessments and stuff to really get you to understand who you are and get you to where you're trying to go. So that book is called Uniquely Me. It's available for purchase now at tjfproductionscompany.com and on Amazon as well. All right, so let's jump right back into this topic. If you really knew me, would you stay? If you really knew me, would you stay? And we're going to start this conversation off with Fowler Nation.
This is actually kind of a loaded question, because I can definitely say in the beginning of my marriage, if my husband, you're asking if he knew me from my perspective, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, in the beginning of our marriage, I don't think if he had really known me the way that he knows me now, he probably would have hit the deck, because I definitely have a lot of layers. So I'm glad that we were able to grow and get to know each other together.
I would agree.
Now you talk about your
that's kind
perspective
of.
now.
I mean, it's perspective, but I always tell my kids. I mean, when we have our talks, I say the person that your mom was 20 years ago is that person is long gone. So I think that it's more so knowing the person that you're with at that moment in that present time, and making the choice of whether you want to stay at that time. Because I'm not the same person I was, 10 years ago. Not even a year ago, I'm not the same person.
I know you're right.
Emotions change all the time. So, but I do agree that at first, if our mindsets weren't on making sure that we wanted to have our marriage and make sure that we worked at it and kept God as the head of our life and prayed about our marriage, I don't think we would have lasted as long as we did and are.
Well, I can assure you we would not have.
That in all of our differences, out of all the years that we've been together, I think that's been the common thread that we've had. Mm-hmm. What do we want out of our marriage, and what are we trying to, what do we want God to do with it? And how do we want it to be? I mean, you can only get out of a marriage what you put into it. So, yeah.
All right, I want to go to Tammy. Tammy, what are your thoughts on the topic? If you really knew me, would you stay?
I'm thinking it's many layers to this.
Sure.
Being a divorcee and being married young, I think when we get married young, we really don't know who we are as a person, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're constantly evolving. However, I think prior to me getting divorced, the person that I grew into and the person that my ex-husband grew into, we were not compatible. And we weren't compatible. But the thing with that is, again, we were so young when we got married. And I think moving forward, as I'm dating now, I think one thing that I try to embody is being myself. Because at this point in my life, I feel like I know who Tammy is. Outside of my core values, I'm being 100% myself. And I think that's important for everyone to be. Because quite honestly, I'm going to walk out that door if you ain't the person that I was dating at 40. Because I'm not 20.
Let me ask you this really quick. So do you think when you initially started your marriage and outside of we mature as we get older, do you think that you were presenting who you really were in the beginning and you grew in incompatibility, or do you think that you were already incompatible from the start?
I think that we were incompatible from the start because, for one, we were unequally yoked. For two, we had two different lifestyles, two different mindsets of what was right and what wasn't right. So I think we were incompatible in the beginning. However, because we loved each other, we said, okay, I'm in love with this dude. I love the way he makes me feel. He makes me smile. He makes my body feel good when he kisses me. So I'm just going to go with the flow. But however, I done said many times, even on this platform, if you're not compatible and you don't like your mate, it's not going to work. And that's liking the core person they are, liking how they interact with you, liking how they present themselves.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was reading Johnny's.
It's okay. Let's go on over to LaSonia. LaSonia, what are your thoughts? If you really knew me, would you stay?
Well, let me preface this by saying I'm a Gemini. Thus, what I am today may not be what I am tomorrow. But for me, my core values and morals and personality is the same across the board. But from day to day, my my attitude, my aura, my what's making me happy, what's making me unhappy, that changes from day to day. Because I'm a Gemini, and you just, not quite sure what you're gonna get until the sun rises. And that's what it is. And so anybody who is desiring to be with me, they're gonna have to be able to ride that wave with me. And it's nothing, it's not hard. It's not hard to do. I'm not just a person that's impossible or unable to get along with. It's very easy to do. So, just have to find somebody that can rock with me.
All right, Kiera, JJ, what are your thoughts? If you really knew me, would you stay?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it was interesting to hear that topic choice, because I feel like it's very contextual. It's like when you're in a relationship, you're expecting, the expectation, I hope so anyway, is that that person from the get-go. I know also, that that's not always the case. And in that situation, if I felt like, if not me specifically, I mean, I guess it's easier for me to leave a relationship since we're not married, right? It would be an easier way for me to get out. But I think that I feel like if you're in a situation where you feel like if someone knew the real you, they would leave you, then you probably need to really like dive into what is it that you feel like that person needs to know about you. What about that? What knowledge, knowing that about you, brings on flaws in the relationship, and things like that. Like I said, it's very contextual. Like I want to thank the fathers for a little insight on, what they thought about that question, and everybody else too, like their insight into that question. But yeah, I feel like, the expectation should always be to really try to know or understand your partner before, fully going into a relationship. I don't know if you want to add or whatever.
No, I think that was definitely perfectly said. I know when you're in a relationship, you are going to evolve and you are going to change, whether that's physically, that's emotionally, even sometimes spiritually, you can change. So it's just based upon like how effective will the communication be to get to know each other better. But I definitely do agree with JJ with everything else that he has said. But everything is basically, you just evolve. You evolve and you grow. And some people just don't grow. And I just feel like if you're seeing that some people's maturity isn't matching your level, then it's okay to say, I can leave.
All right, Tammy and Twilise, I saw your hands, but I want to jump to Jennifer and then I'll come back to you guys.
Okay, so I'm gonna go from two different sides. So kind of going back to what Tammy was talking about, like getting married younger. I mean, I got married at 22, so a lot of people do view that as young still. I agree, like you don't really know yourself, and growing up, like if you dealt with like low self-esteem or being abandoned, like sometimes you have this fear of, if I truly present myself, I don't know if they're going to stay. And I am trying to hold on to this relationship so tight, whether it's right or wrong, that I am willing to hide a piece of myself, thinking that eventually I can evolve into that and everything will be okay. But a lot of times that's not the case, because the person fell in love with what you presented to them. And you get into this battle of, why can't you love me now? But you were unfair to them to not present your true self to them. And so a lot of times you get into the situation where now you have kids and you decide, what are you going to do? Because now you've just created a bigger mess of other people involved in this situation. And on some cases, depending on the situation, it could be selfish to leave because you kind of provided this lie to someone and now you're mad that they're no longer willing to buy into it. But then on the other perspective, when it comes to a spouse or someone that you're considering being with or concerned if they think that I'm going to leave. So take my husband for instance. When I met him, I love the core of him, but I didn't necessarily like who he was in that moment. But I seen who he could become. But you have to be very careful with that, because although I see what you can become, it's still up to them of whether or not they even want to become that, or if they want to do the work to become that. So when you're thinking about a long-term relationship or a marriage, you have to realize that there's going to be growth, that you guys have to be willing to grow together, but you can't just look at the person now. You also have to decide, can you grow with that person and do your desired end match up? Because some men, want to be at home. They don't really want to do much. And that's not an issue, because I agree with stay-at-home fathers, but that wouldn't necessarily work for my life. And so you have to be honest with yourself. Is that going to work at the desired end?
Thank you. Tolis and Tammy, get ready because I'm coming to you next. I just want to say I agree totally. And I think you have to be super careful in relationships, because I know for me, and I think it's such a thing now, it's the stigma. I was watching a movie, the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella, and one of the mother was like, we hide our flaws until after the wedding. And while that was a funny line in that movie, I think we do that all the time. I think we don't really get into the depths of who we are and show people who we really are and what we really think until we're already in this relationship. And then once we spend all of these years together, we have all of this sex, have all of these babies. Now we're trying to figure out, hey, what happened? What changed? And the reality is nothing really changed. We didn't really mesh from the beginning, but because we decided to go down this path without authentically researching and seeing into each other in a way that's authentic, we don't do that. So I think you have to be so intentional about showing who you are, all of you, the good, the bad, the indifferent, the beautiful, all of those things all the time, because people need to know, is this something that I can deal with? Is this something that I'm willing to deal with? And do I know how? And people need to know that. And I think that was something that I struggled with, because I didn't feel like I could show who I really was because I was deemed as extra. I'm still extra now because that's just who I am. But I'm like, do I really show this? Because this is something that she expressed that she will have an issue with, right? So I think just from the beginning, you have to be genuine, you have to be authentic, and you have to really show up with who you are and not this facade. And I wanted to go real quick to the comments. Thank you guys so much. I see all of your comments.
Wait 1 second to piggyback off of what you said, because you said that you have to show your true self, but we also have to realize sometimes you may think that you are showing your real self because you didn't take the time to learn yourself. Like, you have to be self-aware of who you are. And if you don't take that time to explore yourself, you may be showing your idea of self, but it's really not who you are. It's what people have kind of put on you and you just accepted it.
I agree with that totally. Thank you guys so much. I see you guys. I see the comments. I love it. I want to go to Tiffany Carter's comment. She said, I feel a lot of times for love, we ignore red flags and fall for the potential and not the reality. That's loaded. And I think that that's true. But I want to go over to Toylise because I saw your hand, and then we're going to jump over to Tammy.
So I'll just want to add that I think one of the beauties of Michael and our relationship is that we had no choice but to accept who we were authentically to each other. Because when we got married, we were still learning and getting to know each other, on all bases, friendship, personally, as a husband, me as a wife, as a man, as a woman. I mean, these were all things that we were getting to know just off of the fact that we decided that we were going to get married to each other. So I appreciate the fact that we had no choice but to accept each other's authenticity from the beginning, because, you know, he'll say that I'm, you know, loud and ghetto, but then come to find out that that was what he liked.
That wasn't necessarily what I like.
Oh, that's what
But
you like.
just to comment on that, like, I'm trying to figure out what kind of relationships these are that people are going there fake. At least it sounds like that. I'm like, I never thought that people, I never did that with any of my relationships. I mean, whoever I was authentically at that point in time that I knew who I was, that's what I showed. If you liked it, then you liked it. If you didn't, then you didn't. But I've never been in a situation where I felt like I had to hide part of myself because I want to keep this relationship. I mean, even when I was in my 20s, I was like, well, if you're going to be in a relationship with me, you got to know me. So that's why I told Tolise, I had no problems being open with her in all aspects, you know, and I gave her the opportunity to accept some of the things and, you know, think about some things about whether this is what she wanted to do or not. But I'm just trying to figure out how many people actually do that.
I did.
It's
But I did, but I think the thing that you have to differentiate, because you said two things. Be quiet, Tammy. You said two things in the same thing. Because on one end, no, but what I'm gonna say this real quick. On one end, you said who are those people that are fake, and then you also said who are those people that hide themselves. Being fake and hiding a piece of yourself are two very different things. So there are some people who are fake. They present something that is not them, but then there are people who hide a piece of themselves, saying that I don't know if you can really handle all of me. Like, I don't know if I feel safe showing all of me. And that's two very different things.
And that's absolutely right. I just didn't know that people like that existed. I mean, if you wanted to be in a relationship, I just figured that you was going to be in a relationship and just, you know.
They exist. Reclaiming your time, Michael. Go ahead, Tammy.
We're going to have to start reclaiming Jennifer's time. FYI, she gets special privileges, and I don't like that. Okay, but piggybacking off what Michael said, Fowler, how can you say that you don't know, you didn't think that people just come in being fraudulent like this? People don't come in a relationship saying I'm a cheater. People don't come into relationships saying, you know, I'm addicted to sex, I'm addicted to porn, or I am a mess, I am anything of the sort. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. If your partner was really a fraud, and when I say a fraud, I mean not that person you dated, meaning they did not show their flaws like Mill said. I just had a conversation with someone that I'm dating now, and I asked him the other day, can you tell me the negative things about yourself? Because I'm seeing all this good stuff, but I need to get down to the nitty gritty. What are the negative things about you? And he told me, he said, well, who does that? Who tells people the negative things? Me. Because I'm being 100% transparent. You're going to know the ghetto Tammy. You're going to know the professional Tammy. You're going to know the messy Tammy. You're going to know the attitude Tammy. You're going to know all sides of me, because I need whatever I go into next to be 100% authentic and real, because I feel in relationships, a lot of them go array or south because we're not being our authentic self. So then we get into the relationship, we're not fully fulfilled or happy with our mate because we have not been transparent with each other about who we really are, because of wanting to be with this specific person for whatever reason. It could be for sex, it could be because of money, it could be for whatever reasons. But I think it's very important to be authentic to yourself. But I want to know from the panel, if you found out your mate wasn't who they say they were, they had some secret lives, are y'all staying or are y'all bouncing? Are y'all sticking to those vows?
That's a great question. Rapid fire. We can start. I'm staying. What you doing?
I feel pressured. I mean, I guess it would depend on what it is though. Like, that's the loaded thing. Like, what you doing? Like,
see, for me, it doesn't depend. The only thing right
so
now.
I'm out here murdering people, you staying? You a writer like that? That's a secret.
But I'm gonna stay married to you, but I'm calling 911.
See, you ain't really down.
I'm calling 911.
Really
You're going to jail,
no,
but I'm not gonna divorce you because of that.
Let me go.
You're going to jail, okay?
Period. Real quick, before we continue on, I just want to go to the comments real quick. Joyce, thank you guys so much. I see the comments, I see the love, appreciate you guys. Joyce Monique said, right, everybody comes in a relationship with baggage. It's all about if you can handle unbagging it. And I think this speaks to Tammy's question. So what do you think, Fowler Nation, if they present different, or if they show up with some baggage that you didn't sign up for, what you doing? You dipping or you staying?
But I think that's different. I don't think you compare that with what Tammy asked.
I think it's the same.
It's not.
I'm reclaiming your time.
Well,
Yeah,
baggage and having a whole secret life are two different things.
right. And for me personally, it 100% depends, because Michael and I, we've been together for several years. But if he woke up tomorrow morning and decided that he wanted to start bashing my face in, two things gonna happen. Either I'm going to walk out the door, or he's going to the cemetery. Simple as that. So it for me, it depends on what the baggage is.
Troy boy, what if Fowler came up and just had a baby? You found out he had a random child. What would you do then?
If the child is over 18, I will love it as if I birthed it. If it's younger than 18, you go be with their mom.
See, and now if that's the case, the question is, how did I find out? Because
no, that's not a question for me. If the child is over 18, it's fine. If the child is younger than 17, you go be with their mom.
So at least reclaiming your time.
Reclaiming our time. Thank you.
No, I want to hear what Michael's about to say.
Okay, go ahead, honey. Go ahead, honey.
For one, I would stay, but
y'all heard that.
We would have to work through some things, because why are you keeping secret lives? I mean, after all the stuff that we've been through and all the stuff that we've talked about, 17 years now, you're telling me you have a secret thing. And I'm trying to figure out why. If that wasn't what we presented each other in the beginning, because we made a pact that, hey, we were going to be open because we wanted our relationship to be different when we got married. And a lot of it came from her parents being divorced, and she didn't want to end up being 20 years married, and now all of a sudden we splitting and going separate ways. So let's be open, let's be honest in the beginning. If I had a kid, first of all, she would have known. If I knew, because one, how can I be a father to these 5 and I'm not a father to the one that's outside my house,
which is older than 17?
That speaks more not just to me being a liar, but to me being a father and a parent.
Yes.
But that's a whole nother, whatever.
Thank you. I want to go down to JJ and Kiera really quick, because you guys are in the dating phase. You are actively dating. I hope and pray that moves to marriage at some point. So are these conversations that y'all are having about the negative things, or are they kind of, you're dealing with them as they come up in happenstance, or how are you guys navigating who you really are?
Actually, we kind of had a conversation like this last Sunday. We was talking about the 2 main characters of Insecure, with Issa Rae and Lawrence. Issa D and Lawrence. And I had asked JJ, I said, why is it when a man cheats, it should be forgivable by a woman? And if a woman cheats, the man is heartbroken, leaves the relationship. Like, why is that? And he was like, well, if you're unhappy, you should have said that in the beginning before you started cheating. And he was like, he would leave the relationship if like I was the one cheating or he was the one that was cheating. So we have had those conversations about the what ifs something happened, or something is a distraction in our relationship, or something is a barrier within our relationship. But I'm hoping that like as we continue to get to know each other, we'll be able to learn each other's like attitudes, triggers,
right.
Emotional disturbances.
That's the save and sanctify answer. Tell them the truth. Yo, if you found out I had a baby by somebody right now, what would you do?
Honestly, I really don't know what I would do, and you did not tell me this in the beginning. Like when we started dating.
Yeah, let's say I never told you.
just never. Like, and you're telling me like today.
Yeah, or the baby mama called you and told
Whoa. Dog, I don't even know.
you. She don't know.
I don't know, because the thing is, like, you kept that secret from me for so long that could have been said.
Mm-hmm.
And like we could have made the blended family work
Mhm.
out.
Mm. So what was you gonna do? Mm.
I'm in the hot seat now, okay? The light is beaming right on me.
Cause she knows she proved my point. She was gonna dip too.
I don't know if I could say I would dip. I would be mad. I'll start there. I'll be mad and I'll be very irritated. It'll take me some time to like actually say, okay, you had a child. You didn't tell me about this child. Are we really going to make this relationship work? Because my thing is like, if you're lying constantly, or like you're lying to cover up another lie, that's going to irritate me.
And that's going to be a whole different thing too. All right, Tammy, what I see that you unmuted, and then Toylise.
Yeah, so and that's what I was saying. I want to know, why does it depend? Like, if someone is living a fraudulent life, a secret life, why does it depend on what it is? Because to me, that's a character issue. That means you're a liar. And I'm out. I don't care. I don't care what the situation is, because I'm being upfront and transparent with you, and I'm telling you up front, you could be honest with me. This is a safe place. I can hear out anything.
You muted yourself.
Stop calling me during couples and conversation, okay? At this point, I know, people are imperfect. And I know no relationship is perfect. So there's no reason, absolute no reason for you to lie to me at all. So it don't matter what it is. If you're a liar, you're a liar. And I think we need to stop accepting small lies, saying, well, if it's a big lie, I ain't gonna forgive them. But if it's a small lie, I can deal with it.
Well, go ahead. You got something, man?
Yeah, but it was like long ago that you didn't call me. But no, but to Tammy's point though, when I say it depends, I guess it depends on, because you're saying living a fraudulent life. But like if you just hid something from me, like it was an incident, like you cheated. It depends on how I found out, how long it lasted, if you came to me to have the discussion and we're trying to work towards it, versus me catching you and this is like a continuous thing and that's literally you living that life. So that would be what it depends on for me. But it's also kind of hard to answer a hypothetical question when you've never been in that situation, because you don't know how you're going to feel. So I get what Kiara is saying, like I really don't know, because it kind of depends on where I am in my life, where we are, how you deal with me confronting you. But I mean, it's definitely gonna be some space for me to think about it. But I don't agree with what a lot of people say, like staying in a relationship for the kids. Like I think that you do have to take that out of the equation, although it matters for them to have two parents. At the end of the day, them two parents being there and it's a toxic relationship still doesn't help the situation. So I would have to look at it for what it is and decide at that point whether or not I would stay. So I couldn't really give an honest answer of what I would do. But when it goes to who was that? The question, the bag. Who asked that?
Joycelyn.
When Joycelyn asked the question about everyone comes with baggage and you have to decide what you're willing to deal with, I think that's completely different than someone living a completely false life. Yes, everyone has a level of baggage, but I don't agree with the idea that it depends on what level I'm willing to deal with it. Yes, we are becoming one. Yes, we have to work through things, but your baggage is not my responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your baggage. And there is some level that I play into that as far as helping you work through it, but it's not my issue. That is an individual growth that you have to do. And a lot of these things that we're talking about, it has to do with maturity too. So where are you at on your maturity level? A lot of things that are hitting us is because we are navigating in an immature mindset as far as the lying and the secrecy and stuff like that. So when you want to have a marriage and when you want to have a spouse, you have to make sure that you are at the maturity level to be able to deal with these things, and to make sure that your partner is at that same or close to that maturity level. Because if your guys are not leveled, it's going to be very difficult.
I see the hands and I'm coming to y'all, but I want to say, because I heard Tammy say this, and I know that this happens a lot in relationships. We're talking about people not showing up and being who they really are, being frauds and all of these things like that. And I just heard Tammy say that when she has, she's in a new relationship now, and you tell people, tell me the good, the bad, this is a safe place. You can't say this is a safe place, right? Safety is a feeling. You can tell me out of your mouth till you blue in the face, this is a safe place, this is safe, this is a safe place. But if I tell you something and you toot your face up and you get an attitude and then you stop talking to me, you start giving me the silent treatment, you have already created this environment to be unsafe. So I can't even give you the real raw dog, because every time I say something to you, you are responding in a way that doesn't make me feel safe. When somebody comes to tell you something, especially your spouse, one thing that we have learned and one thing that we are really working on doing is assume positive intent. I'm never trying to hurt you. I'm never trying to say something to you to get a rise out of you. I'm never purposely doing that. Am I going to hurt you? Absolutely. I'm a man. I'm flawed. I'm going to make mistakes. But I'm never going to straight up say something specifically to get a rise. And you telling me this is a safe place doesn't prove to me that this place is safe. How are you responding to me when I tell you something that is small? If you can't even respond appropriately to me telling you something small, you can forget about the innermost things for sure. But I just want to say that. But I want to go over to JJ and then Twillies.
No. I will submit my time. I'm sorry.
Reclaiming your time. Got it. Twillies.
Yeah.
So as far as being in a partnership with someone, two things. Number one, you as the person that may want to reveal something, you have to have enough faith in your partner that you feel, how can I say this, able to release that part of you to them. And then being on the receiving side of that, they have to be mature enough to accept your honesty. And I think that's where the disconnect is. You are not capable or necessarily mature enough to accept my honesty and my transparency. Now, and unfortunately, that is not, necessarily a me thing, but that's a you thing. But now I'm kind of side-eyeing you now, because we're supposed to be in this together. So if I can't be authentic with anyone, I should be able to be authentic with you. And it reminds me of a conversation that I had with my dad, and we were talking about him and my mom, and I was telling him, Dad, he my second youngest sister, we have the same father, not the same mother. And I told my daddy, I said, Daddy, what you don't know is that it was a miracle that you and mama lasted as long as y'all did, because honestly, y'all were done from the beginning. When you did not feel that you were able to tell her that you had a child, whether y'all was together or on off, had the timeout or whatever, when you did not feel that you could tell her that you had another child, that was the end of your relationship. And so for all those years, y'all were wearing a mask. Y'all masked it up. Because me personally, it took me a while to understand how. I'm hearing people say, oh, I want my marriage to be just like your parents. They got the marriage this, the marriage this, marriage this. And then I look at them now and I'm like, that's impossible. For me to hear these things growing up as a child, now that I'm in my adult life, y'all pretty much paid it. And so you have to be, it is non-negotiable that you have to be authentic and transparent with your partner if you want something to last. And that's just period.
I agree. Tammy?
I just wanted to say that I totally agree that it depends on maturity level. And I just want to say, when you know better, you do better. There's no reason for us to be, and I'm only speaking for myself, me to be 40 years old, entering into a new relationship or even thinking about entering into a marriage like I did in the past. It's a new day. And if my soon to be husband is not on the same page as me, then it ain't gonna work. And Tammy gonna bounce. Period. I have zero tolerance for BS. And that's overall BS. I am not up for the games. I want to be in a relationship. I want to be married again. However, I want to do it the right way. Period.
All right, go ahead, babe.
No, I was just going to, but kind of, Twilly's kind of summed it up. When talking about the kind of like what we see versus kind of how we are. So like when she was talking about her parents and like what she's seen as far as what a relationship is, I think a lot of times like we seen people living out these mass lives and we thought that it worked. And so in our younger selves, we kind of went into it at the same rate, like thinking that, oh, they navigated it, we can navigate it too. But I think that our generation kind of did a lot of self-discovery. Like we are more vocal about what we want, what we need. We're identifying who we are. And so when we enter into relationships at an older age, or even if you stay in a relationship and you grow, you realize that if I want this to work, and if I value myself and I value my partner, I have to be willing to show myself, no matter what that is. And a lot of times we talk about being behind the veil. So in marriage, you have a veil, and if you even go to scripture, it's about being behind the veil and different things like that. And when you talk about that safe space, I think that we have it in our mind that it's automatic, but it's something that you have to build.
Yeah.
And this circle of safety is behind that veil, and knowing that whatever I present to you won't be seen by other people. Like you have to be able to differentiate what is just between us as a partner and what is able to be visible to the world. But a lot of times that's not the case. It's like I can show all of it because you showed it to me. And so we lose that sense of security within the relationship, or we never build that sense of security within the relationship.
So here's the question that I have, and Lasonia, I'm coming to you first. When I am assuming, let me not assume, let me ask. Do you desire to get married again?
Yes, I do. I desire to be in a
Okay, so when you get married again and when you start that relationship, do you think that there are levels to showing who you really are? Do you give a little bit as you go? Do you lay it out at the beginning? What are your thoughts on how you navigate that? Because you've kind of been through it, so you've seen it. So what are your thoughts on how that should work, or how you would work it in your next relationship?
I do think that there's levels to revelation. Um, I'm not coming in on the first date talking about my mole on my booty and I'm not coming in the first date talking about that. That's 12 dates from now, right? So I do think that there's levels to it. Um and I also think it's dependent on how well is the relationship going. Because if we've been dating for a month and this is not really looking like it's going to work, or that you are a person that I desire to be in my life, then there are things that I'm not revealing, because it's not looking like, this is going anywhere. Now if it's looking like the relationship is going somewhere, then I might peel back that next layer, and the next layer and the next layer. And as we begin to talk about marriage, now we can start discussing some of those deeper layers.
Okay, I agree with that. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add, like, I know that this is about couples and conversations, and a lot of us are couples, or we're talking about the perspective of becoming a couple again or our previous couple. But I think one of the main issues is that we enter these marriages, and we were kind of talking about this earlier. Like, I didn't know that that was a part of marriage. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but okay. But the biggest thing that we struggle with is not developing the relational aspect outside of marriage. Like, we hop into marriage and we're like, all these things are new and I have to learn these things, when in reality these are things that we should have learned growing up, not necessarily with the idea of I'm going to get a spouse and I need to learn this, but these are key things even in friendships. Like, you should be able to present your whole self in friendships. You should be able to present your whole self to your parents. Like, your parents should know who you are. You should know a different level of your parents. And I know that there has to be some differentiation as far as authority. I'm your parent, you're my child. But as the child grows and matures, the parent should also be disclosing pieces and elements of them so that they can see them as a person, so that they can impart wisdom in them for when they go out into adulthood. This is what I experienced, and I don't want you to go this way. And that helps us navigate that relational aspect that we can translate into a marriage, and so that it's not so difficult.
Our parents don't disclose. Well, let me talk about my parents. My parents, I can't speak for anybody else's parents. My parents didn't disclose anything. Zero, zip, zilch. I'm telling you, my parents were the old school Will and Jada, and I don't even know about their relationship, but how everybody holds their relationship. I know, but how people still hold their relationship in this high regard. It was like that, and they did zero disclosing, which is why we were so confused when it went from 16 to nothing, like super confused. But I want to go to Tammy real quick because Tammy said I disagree. So,
when I say disclose, I'm not. But hold on, when I say disclose, I'm not talking about their relationship to each other. I'm talking about who they are as a person. So, like, you knowing Frank and you knowing Diane.
I don't know either one of them.
Okay, well, you need to get to know them.
Go ahead, Tammy.
When you guys were talking about layers and levels,
Mm-hmm.
I believe I believe there's layers and levels. However, when you get to being from just dating to exclusively dating, I think those layers need to be peeled back quickly, because what you're not going to do is you're not going to wait till we about to walk across down that aisle to say, oh, Tammy, X, Y, and Z. Oh, no, the hell you not. Excuse my language. I'm sorry, Mills. I'm sorry. But I think, because, come on. We're investing time.
Sure.
It should not take you 3 months to tell me you got 5 kids. I tell dudes up front, I got 6 boys, and that's what it is, period, point blank. Don't wait months in to peel back important layers, because that's not fair to the other person. Either you're going to accept me or you not.
Go ahead, LaSonia.
But there are some things that are so intimate that just can't be shared until you know that this is a person that I'm going to have some longevity with. Because what I'm not about to do on the same hand is put my business out there, and then the relationship don't work out. Now this ninja out here telling everybody that my pinky toe crooked, and and nothing that superficial, but because 45 years old, 4 serious relationships, 3 of those 4 serious relationships, it was some whole other stuff going on behind the scenes with dude. And 2 of those 4 relationships, I was in a marriage, and it was a whole scenario going on outside of the marriage and behind my back. See, now, obviously in my marriages, I had disclosed the deepest pieces of me. But when I think about the unmarried relationships that I was in, ain't nowhere in the flying saucer I was going to tell certain things about me until I knew, because in hindsight, those relationships didn't last. We broke up, it didn't go well. Certain things about me had I disclosed that and now we're not together, I just can't have myself out there like that, because now seeing the person that those people are, they would have put me out there. And that's not cool. And that's a them issue, not a me issue. But I have been betrayed enough times that this is just how I choose to move. And like I said, when we start, as the relationship becomes more serious and deeper, then I will disclose more serious and deeper things. But before then, you just gonna have to wonder.
And I understand what you're saying, LaSonia. And I just think it depends on a person, because I'm a very open person. So anything that anybody can know anything about Tammy, I'm open. I'm 100% open. So, and I own everything that I have done. So I'm just open like that. So I'm telling whoever, and I don't care if the world knows, because guess what? Yes, I am Tammy. Yes, I did do it. I did what I did. I meant what I did. And if it was something that I regret, guess what? I learned from it. So I don't really care about, sharing my deeper innermost self. And that's why I desire a person that's on the same level as I am, because you're going to get all of Tammy. And I want to know all of you. But I understand what you're saying when you're talking about betrayal, because I feel like one thing that I'm skeptical about when I'm dating now is sharing financial information, because dudes these days come after you. And then when things don't work, they more petty than women. They want to take you for spousal support, child support, and all other type of stuff when they know what the finances are. Okay. So that's about the only thing that I'd be a little bit quiet about, as far as wait until we're to a point to whereas marriage. But other than that, I'm completely open.
And I think and that goes with the compatibility of a person. I want to go to the chat real quick. Kiera said, we can't put a timeline on self-disclosure in a relationship. And I agree with that completely, because you don't like, and I tell this story and I tell it funny. Literally, like, I felt like one day I woke up and the things that were acceptable on Monday just were not acceptable on Tuesday. But I feel like just that time, Jennifer was going through this self-discovery at a completely different time than I was going through it, and I just wasn't there yet. And it was this is what I'm doing, this is what I will accept, this is what I'm not going to accept. And it was almost like culture shock, and thankfully, and by the grace of God, I got myself together quickly. Well, not that quick, but quick enough. I didn't need assistance.
I'm
right
always
there.
here for
I'm
you.
real good. I do this really well. I got myself together, to a point where now we work, and we work really well, and we have those conversations and we talk about them even now. Even been together for 12 years and married for 9, there are still things. We were just talking about it in the car today. We are still discovering new things about each other. Literally, we're still discovering new things.
But hold on, because I think that you give a false sense of what happened, because I think that
Say from your perspective, because it's not false.
You didn't say from your perspective. So what I think is that you give a false idea of what happened, because it wasn't that it was an overnight flip of what I will accept. It was an overnight flip of my accountability towards you and my boundaries, because the things that I will no longer accept were things that I told you before marriage. It's just I was lax on them. Like, I was like, oh, okay, you'll take your time. And now it's like, no, you wouldn't had 9-10 years. Get it together.
It ain't been no 9-10 years.
I know you for 12. It's been 9-10 years.
But that's the same thing.
But it's not, because I was upfront with what I wanted, but you were taking your time. And again, I agree with you, Kiera, as far as like there shouldn't necessarily be a timeline at self-disclosure, but there has to be some level of a timeline, because we can't just be playing patty cake all day. Like we have to decide, are you going to take this serious? Are you going to move the way you say you're going to move? Or do we need to do something different? And that's fine. And I can respect that. But you need to be honest with me when I tell you this is what I need.
Sure, but also if I'm going to be honest with you and do the things that you need, don't accept anything less. If that is your expectation.
That's an excuse that you're using now, though.
What I'm
Because you
saying
was
is
saying that
maintain your
before.
expectation, because had your expectation and the accountability of the expectation not changed, I would have met that goal a long time ago. But just saying.
Honestly,
Now,
don't think we would have been married.
What you trying to say?
Because back then, think about your immature self. I think because you were very strong-headed that you wouldn't have lined up with that. And I think that was one of my fears. And it was just like, okay, I'm gonna cut him a little slack.
No, I'm coachable. I'm definitely coachable.
You are now in your mature self. But anyway, so I don't think that it would have worked out. So it did, in some sense, work out that I was more lax on those things, but at the same time it kind of hurt us because it took us so long to be able to work. And if you think about how much more we could have accomplished had we stuck to what we said we wanted to be and wanted to do,
sure,
that would have been beneficial. So it's pros and cons to it, but I do think that there has to be something. Like I don't like the necessarily word of timeline, but at the end of the day, we can't play patty cake. Like you have to show up.
Yeah. This conversation has been absolutely incredible. I've enjoyed this. It feels so good to be back. The viewers, I see y'all in these comments. I love what you guys are saying. And we want to have more conversations like this. So if there's a topic, if there's something that you've been thinking about, or it's something that you're going with in your relationship and you like, I need the panel to talk about this, let us know. We would love to break it down in our panel. And as you can see, we have totally different perspectives. We're not just all of us saying the same thing. We want to give you our real, raw, unpracticed, unrehearsed perspective. So if you have any questions on this topic or any other topic, send us a message to couples, the letter N, conversations@gmail.com. You can also send it to our inbox on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find us on all those places. You can also listen to this podcast everywhere that podcasts are played. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, literally everywhere. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find this. Again, we will not be live next week, but we'll be live the week after that. We have another fantastic topic. I cannot wait to break that one down as well. As we say on this episode and every episode, just remember, communication is everything. We'll see you guys next time with Couples and Conversations.